Welcome back, my name is LastKnownMeal and today we're gonna be talking about HalfLife Alyx. So after yesterday's reveal of the game, everyone were left in the state of shock. Because first off, when Valve said that they're making a new Half-Life game and this new Half-Life game is going to be a VR, you could visibly see confusion on people's faces. And I was confused too, because Half-Life as a franchise is probably, made up of the best games I had ever played. Every single game, going from Half-Life 1 to Half-Life 2 Episode 1 to Half-Life 2 Episode 2, if you think about the gameplay mechanics, if you think about the story for that time, it was truly one of the best games ever created. And then after all these years, Valve says, well, there is something else we want to push. There is other part of the video game industry, other technology that we want to push. So on that side, I do understand why they made Half-Life Alyx into a VR game. Because, in my opinion, the future of gaming is going to be VR. There is only some things games can do right now, and obviously they're pushing the realism in games, they're pushing games to be like films. So what's the next step in the future? The next step is obviously VR. Now, VR technology as of yet has somewhat hit a brick wall. I'm not saying that VR is going to fail, not at all. It's gonna take some time from this moment when VR becomes mainstream, because number one, it's expensive. Right now, it's really expensive for people to buy VR and also have other hardware which is going to push that. Obviously, if you are going to buy VR for consoles, that's one thing, but if you're buying VR for your PC, you also need to have a good GPU, you need to have a good PC in order to run VR games in general, so a lot of people don't have money for that. So why would one go and create a VR game if it's not going to sell? Well, you see, what Valve did with Half-Life Alyx and what I've seen from the announcement trailer is, number one, the game looks insane. I don't know if the finished, final product is going to play out like that, but from what I've seen, movement-wise, story-wise, graphics-wise, everything, in the game, what I've seen, it's truly remarkable. Technology-wise, this game is pushing the limits of the VR technology, and on that side, I do want to congratulate Valve on doing this, because they might be the first to actually push the VR into a whole new area. Because, there has been a lot of VR games as of yet, and there's a lot of upcoming VR games which are also looking amazing. But this is the first time you see like a really serious, huge corporation take on VR and actually give us a popular game from a popular franchise. And this is what the spin-off is supposed to be. Now, even for a VR game, it's amazing. And honestly, when I finished watching the trailer, that was the first time when I said, I want to buy myself a VR, package. Because as of yet, VR was there, it was fun, but it wasn't something I could get around with, it wasn't something I'm going to use all the time. I'll stick to my keyboard and mouse, I'll stick to my controller, but I won't go and put a VR headset, on my head, because it didn't have a point. There weren't that many games that were good, the technology is still not there yet, I don't want to buy something which is still in somewhat of a research phase in my opinion, but to have games from, huge studios like this, then it makes more sense to go and invest in VR. So I just hope that Half-Life is just one of the games that are going to go into the VR section and that are actually good. Because let's face it, for everyone who's going to play Half-Life Alyx when it comes out next year in March, it's going to be something different. It's going to be a different experience of going throughout the video game than before. And on that side, they really did a good thing. So I just hope, as I said, that the final product, when it comes out, looks as good as this. because the motion, the fluidity, and what I've seen in the game is truly remarkable. How using those gloves you can basically somewhat take items from far away. You have somewhat of a string, like a magnet or something, that you can track things with it. So it is a spin-off, but this could actually mean something else as well. Now, after all these years, when we didn't hear anything about Half-Life, we thought that the franchise was gone, and there's a lot of talent that was in Valve that left, Valve, that worked on the previous Half-Life games. So a lot of people said, then what's the point of making a new Half-Life game if it's not going to be as good? Because let's face it, the Half-Life 3 needs to be really good to keep the franchise where it is, because it has all the previous games that came out all these years ago that still are played by people, and still, you can enjoy them. When you look at the mechanics, they're not outdated. A lot of games today don't have the mechanics that Half-Life had all these years ago. So my idea of this spin-off is that Valve is somewhat testing the waters with this one to see how, going into VR is gonna be for the company. It might be a very, how would I say, bold move, because it is a bold move. But, if you have more companies which are pushing this technology, at the end of the day, in a couple of years, you are going to see this technology move forward, because now there is a reason for this technology to move forward. Video game companies are going to be interested in making VR games because those VR headsets are going to be more and more and more popular. So I really hope that Half-Life Alyx, because it's a spin-off, gives us Half-Life 3 in the future. I mean, Valve really needs to finish this for everyone. Like, the story has to come to an end. Maybe Half-Life Alyx is going to give us a new insight and expand on the story. Obviously it will. There's a lot of answers that were left unanswered, and hopefully they tackle them as much as they can. Hopefully they hint us that in the future we might finally see Half-Life 3, and that depends from Valve. Obviously they still want to keep this franchise going, and I'm certain that they always wanted to make a VR game in a sense like this, but to have an IP as Half-Life, you can truly sell it. If they released any VR game with this technology in any other universe, any other franchise, or maybe something new, people wouldn't really be connected with it as they are with Half-Life. So obviously to use this IP to develop something in VR does make sense. So in the end, this is what I think about it. Tell me down below what you think about this. Are you going to be buying a VR headset just because of Half-Life? Do you already have it? What do you think about it so far? And what do you think about Half-Life 3? Because, I thought they stopped. I thought that they didn't, make anything Half-Life related. But they're a company that can hide secrets really well. We've seen that. We had, there were some leaks that Half-Life is moving into VR, but it wasn't, anything widespread, So hopefully this pushes them in the future to really create that Half-Life 3 game, which is non-VR, so that number one, they can finish the story, and number two, still show us that they're a gaming company that are capable of creating a great game. Because what they've shown to us with Half-Life Alyx VR is that they can push technologies really far. They have the talent, obviously, so I just hope they use it in the right direction in the future, and we'll see how this thing is going to develop. But that's pretty much it. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button for more Half-Life and gaming related videos. I talk a lot about different topics regarding to gaming. For everyone that is new, welcome to the channel, and that's basically it. Don't forget to also join us on Twitter and Discord if you want to continue the discussion there. And as I said, tell me down below what you think about this. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.